Tonight, First Alert Forward is live from Forest Park. St. Louis's crown jewel took its own hit from the May 16th tornado. Plans are underway right now to help restore it to the glory that so many St. Louisans love, and visitors from around the globe have come to love as well. Good evening to you. I'm Corey Stark, live from inside of Forest Park. We are right near the Grand Basin. And on May 16th, this place suffered millions of dollars in damage. You can still see some of that damage right behind me. Forest Park Forever is helping fund those repairs, and city residents who experienced damage or homes lost have been relying on FEMA for help. In fact, we just got brand new data this evening from FEMA. Since May 16th, FEMA has given $56 million to St. Louis homeowners. In total, 9,400 households have gotten help, and $90 million have gone right to the city for projects. Well, leading the city's rebuild is Mayor Cara Spencer, who was just weeks into her first term when this devastation dropped out of the sky. And tonight, First Alert Forward's chief investigator Lauren Traeger asked the mayor about the promises made and what grade she'd give herself.
What goes through your mind being here in this space?
Every time I'm here, it's heavy. Coming and seeing the demolitions in progress, it's just very, very heavy. Imagining what the folks who live here have been through, trying to walk through their footsteps, it's a lot.
Do you see signs of hope?
Oh, absolutely. So much work has already been done on so many of these homes. Obviously, so much cleanup. You see, just being in this park, it feels, on the one hand, so naked of the trees, the enormous trees that were here just a year ago. But look at all of these trees that have been planted.
A year later, what grade would you give yourself and city government on recovery and response to this tornado?
Oh, I couldn't grade myself or our city government. I think that's something our community has to do. I would say that the community gets an A. That I could grade. Seeing so many people come out for each other and for the city was absolutely phenomenal.
Some people have said more needs to have happened in the last year. What would you say is the biggest impediment to a speedier recovery?
Oh, there's not one thing. It's a whole host of things. When we came in, I was just 30 days in. We saw from the tornado sirens not sounding, the cascading failures within the emergency management processes that hadn't been updated in far too long, to the federal government not just having a new FEMA. The city of St. Louis has become the unlucky guinea pig in an entirely new orientation for our federal government. But that set of circumstances, those rules have been ever changing throughout the last year, and that has been enormously challenging.
What role is the federal government playing right now, and do you need them to continue stepping up?
We do need them to continue to step up, but they have delivered $50 million in individual assistance to residents, nowhere near what our residents need to address the $2 billion worth of damage. And of course, they're showing up in public assistance, but we need more. The FEMA qualifications for demolition cost reimbursement are incredibly narrow. These are enormous challenges, but I think where I'm at in this 1 year mark, while recognizing that we are not where we want to be, the important thing is where we're going, and to continue to put one foot in front of the other so that we can get there together.
The Office of Recovery has said that demolitions and repairs are really going to start accelerating in the next couple of months. Can you guarantee that that's going to happen, and what does that actually look like?
Yes, funding those while putting in place new programs and bringing in national partners in that work. I'm also very proud of the work that my team is doing with the president of the Board of Aldermen and the Board of Aldermen to put forward a RAMS package that will result in significant funding to these efforts that will allow us not to do all the work that we need. The RAMS funds couldn't possibly address the $2 billion worth of damage, but we can make a sizable difference, and deploying those as strategically as possible through the neighborhood planning effort that's underway. I feel very, very hopeful about our future.
Some people express fear and concern that recovery in the Central West End looks very different than it does in other parts of the city. How do you address that?
The Central West End doesn't have blocks and blocks of vacant buildings that were condemned and vacant for decades before the tornado. Those are some of the biggest challenges. It's a very, very different environment than what we're seeing in other neighborhoods that have seen disinvestment, have extraordinarily high levels of uninsured properties, and have a high reliance on the city to fill those needs. The Central West End is taking care largely of those needs themselves. So that comparison is unfortunate and certainly just not applicable.
There are people who continue to argue it's not government's job to fix up private property, that is what insurance is for. Are you still encouraging private property owners to take their own accountability?
I think anybody who can insure their home should, absolutely. I'm a homeowner. I've always kept home insurance. However, you know, something that's often missed in that conversation is that you have neighborhoods here that have so much vacancy. It's enormously challenging to find even an insurance company willing to provide a policy, and often that policy can be cost prohibitive. You know, in that case, your question was, what role does government play? And I would argue that because our city has played a key and active role in disinvestment in these neighborhoods, and we have a vested interest in the future success of these neighborhoods, it is incumbent upon us, and we do have an important and critical role to play in investing in the future of these communities.
What about broad-scale plans for economic development, for new housing? Where do those plans actually stand?
Yeah. Well, those plans, in large part, are part of the planning efforts that are underway with the planning department and being done with community. You know, it's important that that work is really done and centered in community. And so as we come through the next couple months and as those plans are finalized, those will be the roadblocks for building the long-term reinvestment plan.
Is the city better prepared today for another tornado, another natural disaster, emergency, or serious crisis?
We are in some very, very significant ways, and we've done some very, very serious things to, one, align along any type of weather event. You saw some of that through the Winter Weather Command going through this last winter, one of the harshest winters the city has had in a very, very long time. It looks like an extraordinarily better coordinated set of departments. We're better prepared. Now, we still have work to do, and that's not to say that we're there yet, but we're making very, very constructive strides.
1 year from now, what does it look like in this city?
You're going to see some investment in the infrastructure throughout North St. Louis, really focusing on the area impacted by the tornado. But you know, a year from now, that work is going to be well underway, and we're going to have some, you know, some very, very exciting constructive work to really be proud of.